Hello everyone, this is Dina Akasha and I'm back again. And today, and this video is part 2 about combining algebraic fractions by adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. And part 1, we discussed the easier cases in which the denominator is a number or the denominator is an algebraic expression. Now in this video over here, we are going to discuss the challenging questions. مش عايزة أقول الأسئلة الصعبة, just the challenging questions. We're going to solve a total of 4 or 5 questions. Now I need you to pay full attention in this video because these are the questions that you will get in your exams. هم ما هماش صعبين. They just need إن أنا أبقى organized وأنا بحل. If you are using my notes, please open the notes to page number 79. If you are using the notes, please open the notes to page number 79 and pay full attention as we go through how to solve these 2 questions or these challenging algebraic fractions. Now, let me just remind you that the letter F stands for a fraction. The letter F stands for a fraction. Now, if you look at this question over here, you will find that I have 2 fractions to be added or subtracted. طبعا we're going to discuss all cases. أول حاجة, the first thing that I want you to remember whenever you're dealing with these sort of questions, as I said in the previous video, always remember to put brackets around expressions, as you can see, to avoid silly mistakes. Always remember to do that. Put brackets to avoid silly mistakes. طبعا F1 means fraction number 1, F2 means fraction number 2. And then you ask yourself, إيه اللي أقدر أعمله في ال 2 fractions دول? What can I do in these 2 fractions? وإيه اللي أقدر أعمله يا حبايبي يا حلوين بتنقسم إلى جزئين؟ هل في عندي bracket يكفك؟ Do I have expanding to be done somewhere? Do I have factorization to be done somewhere? And factorization was discussed in details in the factorization video. يبقى أنا, step number 1, put brackets to avoid silly mistakes. Step number 2, you ask yourselves, what can I do in these 2 fractions? Can I expand anywhere? Can I factorize anywhere? So let's look at every fraction individually. Let's look at every fraction individually. أنا هصغر عشان عايزة الستبس تبقى موجودة. أبص على fraction. ال 2 دي أقدر أعمل فيها حاجة؟ لا، فهكتبها زي ما هي. طبعا دي هنا step number 1. الدينومينيتور ده أقدر أعمل فيه حاجة؟ يعني ينفع يتفك في bracket، ينفع factorization؟ لا. So as you can see, in fraction number 1, I cannot do anything. لأنه this 2 is just a number. And this denominator over here cannot be factorized, cannot be anything. So I just copied and pasted fraction number 1 as it is. Now moving on, طبعا I will copy the addition symbol. Moving on to fraction number 2. Now in fraction number 2, by looking at this numerator, you will find that there is nothing to be done over here. يعني 3x minus 4 دي أنا ما أقدرش أعمل فيها حاجة. So I will just copy it and paste it. Now by looking at this denominator بقى هنا, over here, what can I do with this denominator? Yes, excellent. This denominator over here can be factorized. This denominator can be factorized. وهي دي الستep بتاعت ايه اللي أنا أقدر أعمله. Factorize this highlighted denominator. we already بقى discussed the factorization. طبعا this factorization is with the calculator أو اللي هي mode equation 3. Now, when you factorize, you will end up with x minus 2 و x plus 3. X minus 2 و x minus 3. X minus 2 and x minus 3. Let me just check with mode 5.3. Yes, أنا متأكدة. Okay, 1 equals negative 5 equals 6. Yes, x minus 2 and x minus 3. So this is step number 2 اللي هي إيه اللي أقدر أعمله. Step number 3 بقى is going to be the same denominator step. The same denominator step. Now, please, let's go to the whiteboard and let me try and explain this to you in a simpler method. لو أنا جيت قلت لكم 1 على 7 وهنا 1 على 14 وجيت قلت لكم هنا add or subtract هتقولي يا مس طبعا this is super easy. We're going to multiply up and down here by 2. طيب ركزوا معايا بقى في الجزئية دي. هل أنا ينفع ال 14 دي إن أنا أكتبها، ما هي كانت 14 ها اللي هي كانت هنا. Can I write it as 7 times 2? Yes, I can. I can write it as 7 times 2. So by comparing these two denominators, you will find that the 7 is common. ال 7 موجودة هنا وموجودة هنا. بس ال 2 exists only in this fraction over here. فال 7 بصت هنا قالت ايه ده؟ اشمعنى انت عندك ال 2؟ انا كمان عايزة ال 2 دي. So I multiply by 2 up and down. So this denominator consists of two numbers. This denominator consists of two numbers. طبعا which results 1 over 14 and 2 over 14 and so on. By applying this concept over here, let's compare the denominators. This is طبعا معلش أنا ما كتبتش هنا. This is fraction number 2. Now fraction number 2, in other words, is super satisfied. Why? Because if you look at the denominator of fraction number 2, هتلاقوا إنه fraction number 2 ده has 2 brackets. While if you look at the denominator of fraction number 1, you will find that fraction 1 عنده بس x minus 2. فده زعلان. بص هنا كده قال له اشمعنى انت عندك x minus 3؟ انا كمان عايزها. تمام؟ فهناخد ال x minus 3 دي up and down in fraction number 1. تاني. Okay? The denominators, by comparing the denominators, you will find that the second denominator, or the denominator of fraction number 2, consists of 2 brackets, while the denominator of fraction number 1 has 1 bracket only, which is x minus 2. ده معناه إنه علشان هما الاتنين يبقوا the same denominator, they must have the same number of brackets. لازم هما الاتنين يبقى عندهم 2 brackets. So fraction 1 is missing which bracket from here? Is missing x minus 3. So I multiply it up and down. I multiply it up and down. دي مرحلة ال same denominator. طبعا please بقى خدوا بالكم إنه في step number 2, as we said, you write the denominators without expanding them, and you will understand why. Maybe we didn't mention this in part 1, but I will mention it in part 2. Okay, I will keep the denominators untouched. Now, as we said, the same denominator step, we always do it in the questions with 2 fractions added or subtracted. Now I will move to the 7 up step, اللي هي expand up. I will combine هنا, I will multiply the 2 by this bracket. So 2 times x is 2x, 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. طبعا this fraction number 2, the denominator of fraction number 2 هيفضل زي ما هو. Okay, so expand up. فكيت الحتة دي هنا. I multiplied out these two. وبعد كده بلاش اللون ده هيبقى فاتح. وبعد كده combine up. يعني I will combine like terms. 2x and 3x could be combined together, and then negative 6 and negative 4, they as well could be combined together. I'm going to move on now to step number 3. لأنه خدوا بالكم يا جماعة إنه the objective is what? The objective is إنه أنا أشيل كل ده وأحط مكانه fraction واحد بس in the simplest form. The objective is to remove these 2 fractions, put 1 fraction only in its simplest form. Now I'm going to combine the highlighted green together. طبعا, as we said, the denominator is untouched. Okay, 2x plus 3x is 5x. And then combine the highlighted yellow together. Negative 6 plus negative 4 is negative 10. أهو بقى نيجي بقى دلوقتي للكلام المهم. Moving on to step number 5. When I reach to the single fraction form, قلنا F يعني fraction. لما بوصل للمرحلة دي، لمرحلة السنجل fraction, I ask myself, can I factorize up and down؟ يبقى يا جماعة بعد ال same denominator expand up, combine up, factorize up لأنه تحت is already factorized. Now by looking بقى هنا you will find that this expression over here can be factorized. أنا هنا I can take highest common factor. ودايما بأكد بعد مرحلة الكومبايننج يعني لازم أوصل الأول single fraction. بعد ما بوصل السنجل fraction أسأل نفسي can I factorize up and down؟ Now down is already factorized, so I keep it as x minus 3, x minus 2. طبعا فوق this is a highest common factor question. And now since I have factorized up بما إنه or since I have items multiplied up, items multiplied down, and as you can see this bracket is repeated up and down, I can cancel them together, reaching the simplest form of 5 over x minus 3. And I guess now it makes sense to you why do I insist of not expanding the denominator. Not expanding the denominator. في حد بيقول لي طب يا مس ما أنا ممكن هنا أعمل factorization في step 2. هستفيد إيه لو أنا عملت factorization هنا؟ لو أنا عملت factorization هنا في step number 2 هقوم راجعة تاني كده. مش هو ده الهدف. بليز يا جماعة أهي expand up, combine up. لما بوصل لمرحلة الفراكشن واحد I factorize up. تمام؟ دلوقتي بقى we're going to practice on these sort of questions اللي هم complicated questions أو the questions that require factorization. Let's see. هنا in the same page. طبعا this is a question about subtraction. وطبعا the only difference between adding and subtracting is that اللي هي بس الحتة بتاعت حاجة minus حاجات دي. فإحنا هنا we are going to use just this extra اللي هي حاجة minus حاجات, put the حاجات in a bracket, or if you remember قلنا change this to addition and then change signs. يعني it's totally up to you. طيب أنا بس عشان مش هقعد كل شوية أكتب الsteps تاني. Will these steps change؟ دول هيتغيروا؟ لا, they will not change. And actually they are written برضو هنا. فين؟ مكتوبين أهي هنا. They are written here as well if you wish to read them. Okay. Now they are written, معلش أنا بس عملتها بسرعة. They are written again in page number 78. Yeah. خلينا نكمل هنا. This is a question about subtraction. And let's see how do I simplify these sort of questions. Yeah. أول حاجة برضو you can على فكرة زي ما اتفقنا you can pause, solve, and then check your answers. First, put brackets to avoid silly mistakes, especially when you're dealing with subtraction questions. Then ask yourself, إيه اللي أقدر أعمله in fraction number 1 وإيه اللي أقدر أعمله in fraction number 2. In fraction number 1 there is nothing to be done. حلوة دي, rhymes. In أغنية. In fraction number 1 there is nothing to be done. يعني مفيش factorization ولا expanding. But moving on to fraction number 2. In fraction number 2 I can factorize down. I can factorize down. طبعا احنا هنا في الفيديو ده مش هنشرح الفactorization بتعمل ازاي لأنه we already discussed how to factorize. I will factorize down, keeping the brackets to avoid silly mistakes. طبعا هنا when you factorize down, you'll find something very interesting. إنه this bracket will appear in your factorization. This bracket will appear in your factorization. Please, if you are confused with how do we factorize, refer to the factorization video. It is already there. فدلوقتي أهو عملنا الستep بتاعت إيه اللي أقدر أعمله and لقينا إنه اللي نقدر نعمله الفactorization. So I did it over here. And then by comparing the denominators, you will find that this bracket is common here and there. Which bracket is extra? ده. Fraction number 2 has 2 brackets. Poor fraction number 1 has 1 fraction only. So fraction number 1 is super jealous looking at this fraction over here قال له اشمعنى انت عندك زيادة x plus 4؟ انا كمان عايزها، فانا هاخدها and I will multiply it up and down. So fraction number 1 must have the two brackets as well. Fraction number 1 is missing this bracket, so I multiply up and down. ودي المرحلة بتاعة ال same denominator. اهو عملناه. وبعد كده هندخل في مرحلة اللي هي ال 7 up اللي هي expand up. ف I will expand the left hand side 3 times x, 3 times 4, keeping the denominator as it is without any changes. x plus 4 وهنا عندي x minus 3. وهنا moving on to the second fraction, برضو the denominator is untouched. x minus 3, x plus 4 وهنا عندي x plus 18. So we did the expanding of up. Now we are going to combine up. يعني هشتغل هنا. طبعا دي مسألة subtraction واحنا already عملنا السبتراكشن قبل كده. السبتراكشن يا جماعة بأكد مهم جدا لأن هو بيجي في الامتحانات على طول. When you are subtracting, you have two options. Either to use the concept of حاجة minus حاجات, put the حاجات in bracket, put a subtraction, put the second item after the subtraction between brackets, and then combine from left to right immediately. 3x minus x is 2x, and then 12 minus 18 is negative 6. ودي مرحلة الcombining. طبعا the denominator will be kept as it is, untouched, which is x minus 3x plus 4. Or what you can do, if this will confuse you, keep طبعا the denominator as it is, untouched, and the first fraction الsigns بتاعته مش هتتغير. You can change the subtraction into addition and change the signs. يعني لو x لو positive اخليه negative ولو negative اخليه positive. ف positive 1x دي هتبقى negative x و positive 18 هتبقى negative 18. And then you combine 3x plus negative x is 2x, 12 plus negative 18 is negative 6. After the 7-up process, we have reached to the single fraction. قلنا f يعني fraction, single fraction. When I reach to the single fraction form in step number 3 بقى, I هكتبها هنا تاني معلش. هكتب الإجابة دي اللي هي 2x minus 6 over my brackets. دي مرحلة single fraction. I ask myself, can I factorize up and down? هل أنا هنا ينفع أعمل factorization up and down? You will find that down is already factorized and up is highest common factor. Up is highest common factor. فأنا هنا I will take 2 common. هيتبقى لي x minus 3. طبعا again, you can refer to the factorization video. لو مش فاكرين the highest common factor, although it's super easy. طبعا after I have factorized up, you will find that this bracket appeared up and down, and then I can easily write the final answer, which is 2 over x plus 4. 2 over x plus 4. So we did these 2 questions over here, the complicated questions. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to move on to classified part 1, and we're going to solve this question over here, and we will see what is new in this question. برضو you can try, alhamdulillah, you can try and pause, solve, and then check your answers. This is classified, as you can see, part 1, page 30. Classified part 1, page number 30. Now the question here says, simplify fully, show clear algebraic working. Now I'm just going to use my magic trick and erase all of these and see how do we work on these sort of questions. Okay, برضو you can pause, solve, and then check your answers. تمام كده؟ Let's see. طبعا هنا خلاص بقى أنا مش هقعد أكتب بقى يا جماعة الستبس كلها، أنتوا خلاص كتبناها وعرفناها. The first thing that I will do, I will put brackets over here to avoid silly mistakes. وتاني زي ما انتوا شايفين this is a subtraction question. وزي ما اتفقنا subtraction questions بتيجي كتير. And then step number 2 is ايه اللي اقدر اعمله؟ Can I factorize anything? Can I expand anything? هنا بقى ايه الجديد؟ You will find that you can factorize here and you can factorize there. I have highlighted every expression that can be factorized. الستep بتاعت ايه اللي اقدر اعمله دي مهمة جدا جدا جدا. So I can factorize all the highlighted. Reaching to step number 1, which is 3 over. طبعا هنا I will take a highest common factor, which is 2 in this case. وهنا عندي x plus 6. وبعد كده هنا minus. I will keep the second numerator as it is. I will factorize down. طبعا this is factorization, the quadratic trinomial. If you remember, we discussed this with the calculator. اللي هي mode 5-3. You will find that 1 equals -2 equals -48. You will find that your factorization ends up with these two brackets, x minus 8 و x plus 6. تمام؟ طب ايه يا مس ده بقى؟ طيب انا هسأل سؤال كده اشوف هتلقطوا السؤال ده ولا لا. Now I'm going to move on to the same denominator step. How many items will I have in my denominator? Can you كده pause and try and answer me? How many items will I have in the denominator? Perfect. I will have 3 items. The 2 and the x plus 6 and the x minus 8. لأن يا جماعة هنا I have these 2 brackets over here. And I have this 2 extra. سيبكم الحاجات الكومن اللي هو x plus 6 ده. فدايما لازم تحاولوا. How many items will I have in the denominator? Everything that appeared in your factorization must be in your denominator. Everything that appeared in your factorization must be in your denominator without repetition. يعني مفيش حاجة بتتكرر. فأنا هنا مثلا these 2 brackets appeared. فدول لازم يكونوا موجودين عندي في الدينومينيتور. These 2 appeared. فلازم تكون موجودة في الدينومينيتور. ده متكرر فخلاص. So again, everything that is produced from your factorization must be in the denominator. So by comparing the denominators, ده بص هنا. طيب ده عنده 2 ماشي مش مشكلة. احنا خلاص متفقين انه الدينومينيتور بتاعي لازم يبقى 3 items. الدينومينيتور ده ناقصه مين من هنا؟ ناقصه x minus 8. So I will do it up and down. So again, this denominator is happy and sad at the same time. Why is he happy? Because he has the 2 extra. Why is he sad? Because he is still missing x minus 8. So I multiply by x minus 8 up and down زي ما انتم شايفين كده. طيب نيجي على السكند fraction اللي هو ده. برضو نفس الكلام. He is happy and sad. Why is he happy? Because he has x minus 8. طيب by looking هنا, why is he sad? Because he is missing mean the 2. So I multiply by 2 up and down. I multiply by 2 up and down. فكده both denominators are happy because they both have 3 items. دلوقتي هندخل في مرحلة قلنا combining up, expanding up, expanding up, أهو expand up, combine up. اللي هو شغلي كله هيبقى فوق. So 3 times x is 3x, 3 times -8 is -24. And what do I do with the denominator? Absolutely nothing. I keep it as it is, x plus 6x minus 8. And a minus, same thing that goes with the second fraction, 2 times x, 2 times -30. And then you keep the denominator as it is. As we said, احنا بقى دلوقتي we're going to practice a lot on subtraction questions. Now, since this question is subtraction, you either put it between brackets and you combine immediately. بلاش البينك ده فاتح، خلينا ناخد حاجة غامقة شوية. Okay, so 3x minus 2x is 1x, and then when you combine the numbers, please خدوا بالكم إنه هي negative 24 minus negative 30. Negative 24 minus negative 30 reaching to x plus 6. طبعا over my denominator, which is untouched, x plus 6. Okay? Or زي ما قلنا بقى في subtraction question so many times, you can change subtraction into addition and change these. طبعا خلاص بقى أنا مش هقعد هنا، الدينومينيتور زي ما هو، هنا نفس الكلام، الدينومينيتور زي ما هو، دي زي ما هي, this is the same. And you can change the subtraction into addition and change these signs. Changes into negative 2x plus a 30, and then combine, reaching to the same answer, of course. Now, when I've reached to this answer over here, I'm just going to write it here in step number 3, so that على فكرة organization is very important in math. تمام? Now, you need to ask yourself, after تاني بأكد, after reaching the single fraction form, after reaching the single fraction form, put brackets to avoid silly, remember, can I factorize up and down? Now, up is already, doesn't need factorization. Down is factorized. And you will find what بقى هنا in this interesting question. You will find that this is repeated up and down. طبعا, the most famous common mistake I've seen in this question is that, يا مس خلاص, ده وده مع السلامة, what remains is 2x minus 8. طبعا, this is absolutely incorrect. Why? Because the 2 is a denominator, so I keep it as a denominator. The x minus 8 is a denominator, so I keep it as a denominator. And anything divided by itself, or x plus 6 divided by x plus 6 is a 1. So this is your final answer. If you wish to expand, ماشي. If not, ما فيش أي مشكلة. Here goes your final answer. Okay? So as you can see, طبعا في مسائل بيبقى فيها دايما new ideas. Okay. Same page, this question over here, and let's work on the steps again. Expressed as a single fraction in the simplest form, in its simplest form. خلاص بقى نفس الكلام, I guess now it's quite بقى يعني اللي هو بيسموها ايه, يعني you're getting used to the idea. Put brackets to avoid silly mistakes, and as you can see again, this is a subtraction question. subtraction question على طول يعني. Okay? بيجي كتير الماينس. ايه اللي اقدر اعمله؟ I can factorize these two. خلاص بقى I'm going to do it يعني بطريقة اسرع شوية. اللي اقدر اعمله, I'm going to factorize these two. طبعا this is dots, difference of two squares, and this is highest common factor. And guys, I just want to tell you that if you have issues with factorization, then you will struggle in this topic over here. That's why you must master factorization. لازم الفactorization بتاعي ده يبقى احنا يعني 10 على 10 فيه. طبعا هنا I will factorize dots and HCF. When you factorize dots, remember, قلنا you square root from left to right. So square root 9, 3 and 3, x power 2, x and x, 25, 5 and 5, 1 positive, 1 negative. طبعا the numerator remains as it is. HCF, the highest common factor here is 2, and طبعا what remains is 3x plus 5. لأنه if you remember, when we factorize highest common factor, we divide. Now, moving on to the same denominator step, let's highlight the common. Now, this is a common item. أو هاجي أسأل نفس السؤال. هنا بقى يا حلوين, الدينومينيتور بتاعي will contain how many items? Every item that is produced from your denominator. إيه ده؟ لا تاني, sorry. Every item that is produced from your factorization will be in the denominator. يعني أنا هنا what appeared? 3x plus 5 و 3x minus 5. فدول لازم يكونوا موجودين في same denominator. هنا what appeared? 2 و 3x plus 5. 3x plus 5 already موجود, ناقص مين؟ 2. فده الدينومينيتور بتاعي. The denominator here consists of 3 items. every item that is produced from your factorization must be your denominator without repetition. فممكن حتى أقارن ده بده هنا كده. ده ناقصه مين من الأخضر؟ L2 up and down. حلو. وبعد كده هنا ممكن أقارن ده بده هنا. ده ناقصه مين من الأخضر؟ 3x minus 5 up and down. يعني you can compare the denominators مع بعضيهم، يعني دول كده زي ما عملنا قبل كده، أو من اللي احنا قلناها الحتة الزيادة اللي هنا دي. طبعا هنا بقى the rest will be the same، اللي هو expanding up 1 times 2 is 2 and then you keep the denominator untouched please. 3x plus 5 وهنا عندي 3x minus 5 minus هنا keep the denominator untouched 3x plus 5 وهنا عندي ايه 3x minus 5 وطبعا هنا 3x minus 5 remains as it is. طبعا as you can see this is a subtraction question، ف either حاجة minus حاجات or we do it the other way around. Now this is a bit tricky, but please pay attention. Now let's do it immediately اللي هو حاجة minus حاجات. 2 minus negative 5. طبعا 2 minus negative 5 is positive 7. 2 minus negative 5 is positive 7. كده كده the denominator is untouched, which is 3x plus 5 و 3x minus 5. اللقطة بقى اللي حصلت هنا في المسألة دي ايه؟ انه يمثل 3x هي هنزلها هنا اهو 3x على طول. لا، الماينس دي will change the sign of the 3x into negative 3x. Or if you think of it this way, if there was a 0x over here, 0 minus 3 is negative 3. فدي trick خدوا بالكم. Or زي ما اتفقنا برضو to be on the safe side مش غلط. If you wish to do it the other way طبعا the denominator زي ما هو okay اللي هو ودي زي ما هي change subtraction into addition, reverse these signs, so 3x will change into negative 3x, negative 5 will change into positive 5. طبعا you will get the same answer over here. فخدوا بالكم يا جماعة إن الماينس دي بتشقلب signs بتاعة الايتمز اللي وراها. طبعا خلاص we have reached to the single fraction form. After I have reached the single fraction form, I ask myself, can I factorize up and down? طبعا هنا by looking at this question, we cannot factorize up. فخلاص كده, this is the final answer, and this is the simplest form. This is the simplest form. So this is the end of part 2 in this video. عشان أنا مش عايزة صراحة الفيديوز تبقى طويلة قوي. This is the end of part 2, and part 2 we discussed how to add and subtract challenging algebraic fractions. Part 3 will be multiplication and division. Thank you all.